Hey you guys, and welcome back to my channel, and if you are new, welcome. My name is Kyndal, and today we're going to do a story time. It is now officially time for me to explain my blended family and how we are what we are today. It took a lot of work, a lot of anger, a lot of tears, a lot of happiness, but we are in an amazing place, and I am hoping this video can help some moms and stepmoms out there struggling to get the family just really bonded. So I'm going to share my story and a few tips that I have for you guys that I've learned through the way. But yeah, grab a snack, grab a drink, and let's get right into this video. You got to let it go. Okay, so I'm trying to figure out where's the best place to start this story. Basically, in the beginning, when me and my husband got together, his ex-wife was going through a lot. It was, a rough time for anybody that's getting got a divorce and, your family separated. So I completely had sympathy, and I knew walking in that there was still, there still wasn't, I don't know how to word it, like, she was over him, but it still wasn't fully, solidly, they're done, they've moved on, type deal. Me and my husband, we were great. I was great with the kids. It was, the roughest part really was mom versus new stepmom. That was the biggest challenge, and I think in every type of family situation like this, the hardest part is not even with the kids. The hardest part is the adults, the dads getting along with the stepdads, and the moms getting along with the stepmoms, and everybody kind of on the same page and getting along. As a family now, we are very strong. We are a strong bonded family, and it took so much work and so many tears and fights and all that, but all of that led to where we are now. Me and her talk more than her and my husband do about the kids. Like, the scheduling is pretty much me and her figure it out, and I've literally had a job working with her, and it went great. We work great together, but it didn't always used to be like that. So going back to when me and my husband first got together, and this was in 2011, things were still rocky. The kids were still not used to the fact of mom and dad aren't together. So it was a new thing for everybody. It was new to the kids, it was new to my husband, it was new to me, it was new to the boys' mom, and it was, I think it was just the whole change and it all being new is what really put a damper on the relationships. I feel like my husband had to kind of not cross boundaries, I'm trying to figure out how to word this. Talk differently to the boys' mom. He was probably a lot nicer and giving before I came along, but as another person in the relationship, he had to also make me feel like I was number one. I was what was important now. Not saying that she wasn't important, because she's the mother of his children, but you get what I'm saying? You have to kind of figure out boundaries and limits and that kind of stuff. So the first year was a lot of testing waters, seeing who can get away with what, and this and that. And then for her, I can't really speak for her, but from conversations and stuff, her biggest part was, I'm around her kids, I'm in the home that they bought together, kind of thing. So I understand her hostility as well. And then me coming in, I'm like, I don't have nothing on this chick. She's got kids with them, they have this bond. It's just a matter of time, and they're going to decide they want to get back together, and all this stuff was going through my mind, and jealousy, and even though it was clear as day that they were not going to be together and they were officially done. Like, they were completely done and over with. She was pregnant with somebody else's baby, and it was just everything in my own head. And I think that's where the roughest part is everybody has their own fears, and unless you express those fears and you guys talk about it, it's just going to manifest, and it's just going to blow up in your face. And, you know, it was, the first year was absolutely insane. And then the second year, it got a little bit crazier, but in a better way, if I should say that correctly. Stuff happened with the boys' mom, and she needed to move in with us, which was fine. I mean, I had my own issues, like, I don't want her with us, you know, your own selfish kind of minds that any woman would have. But it was about the kids, you know, the kids come first, and with all three of us knowing that, I think that's what helped us work the most, was because we do all put the kids first. And, so yeah, she moved in with us, and it was a crazy ride. It had its ups and it had its downs, but I think living together, there was no hiding. There was no keeping secrets. There was no, you know, oh, we'll just hang out and then when we're done I can vent about it. No, we were together all the time. And it really helped us open up with each other, and I don't know, like, it made things so much better. It was almost like we were at like a therapy, almost like marriage boot camp, but like a stepmom versus mom boot camp, and we had to live with each other and that kind of stuff. But it worked. It did. Like I said, we did have our fights. We're always going to have our fights, but it did bring us stronger because we knew what bothered each other. We learned, you know, what to say, what not to say, how to do, what not to do, kind of thing. And we saw a lot of change in the kids too. When we were fighting and not really clicking well, you could see it in the kids. The kids act different. And then once we all started getting along and hanging out like friends and family, the kids, it was like almost like shells dropped off of them. And they were like totally different. They weren't angry and crazy, and they didn't have animosity and hate, and you know, it was just, it became normal to them that we all hung out, and that's how it was. I know my boundaries. I've learned my boundaries. She knows her boundaries. My husband knows his boundaries. It's kind of, we have all figured each other out to the point that we're great. So I would have to say my biggest tips that I could give you guys is just talk. I think the first thing that everybody should talk about is their fears, what they are afraid of that's going to happen, and go from there. Once your fears are on the table, and I know, like, say her fear was me taking her place. Well, I can do everything that I can to reassure her that she is mom, and I will never take her place as mom. I am just another person to help out and love her kids and, you know, that kind of stuff. And I think that was a fear for her. I'm not sure, but I would imagine that that would be a fear. My fear was that she would punish my husband because she didn't like me, or we had a fight, so she would punish him and take his kids away from him. That was one of my fears. And once we put everything on the table, I'm telling you guys, talking, communication is going to be your biggest success in having a blended family that gets along. I am not going to say you're not going to have fights, because you are. Not everybody's going to agree. Heck, we all three have 3 different parenting ways. She parents different than I do. I parent different than my husband does. And my husband parents different than us. So we all have give and take, and we all have our different ways, and put them all together, and that's how we raise this family. Like I said, she's got another child outside of my husband, and then me and my husband have a child together, and believe it or not, her son is pretty much exactly a year older than my daughter, and they are like best friends. They call each other cousins. But those two have been literally together since the day my daughter was born. They have been together. They have lived together. They know that they're not brother and sister, but to help them kind of understand, we just said, hey, you guys are cousins. So that's kind of what they call each other, as cousins. And like the boys' mom is my daughter's aunt. My daughter calls her auntie. And then vice versa, her son calls me aunt and calls my husband uncle. So it just really works. But yeah, communication is going to be your biggest battle and your biggest success at the same time. Other than communication, it would be boundaries. Like I said, there has to be boundaries placed. There needs to be rules set. Like if you're the parent and you have a step-parent, you need to set those rules of what you want to do with your kids and what they can do with your kids. That's like an example. Like talking to the teachers. She never minded that I talked to the teachers, but when it came to certain things like parent-teacher conferences, you know, more important things like that, she wanted to be the mom and me kind of step aside and just support, which was fine. But yeah, you gotta have boundaries. Like, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but communication and boundaries. Honesty is another one. You just have to find ways to talk to each other so you can be honest. I know with the boys' mom, if I have some kind of issue or bigger thing that I need to talk about, I know not to text her about it, because she's going to take it in a different way than I am portraying it. So typically if we text and it's something that's semi-important or something, it ends up kind of turning into a fight, and then we have to talk on the phone. So I know with her, it's best just to talk to her on the phone or in person versus text messaging, because things get twisted and you're putting different tones on, you know, words that aren't necessarily how I'm portraying them. But yeah, that's pretty much how it is, and every year it just gets better. Not me and my ex-wife. I don't have an ex-wife. Me and the boys' mom. She and I ended up working together. She worked at a grooming shop. I needed a job. I ended up working with her. And everybody was like, how can you guys work together? And we would look at them and be like, dude, we actually work better together than we would just hanging out. Like, we worked very well together. And, you know, customers would come into the grooming shop and she would introduce me and she'd be like, this is my husband's or my ex-husband's wife. And they would look like, and you guys are in the same room and you guys work together and you guys are hanging out and laughing. And so we confuse so many people, like so many people. And then when we all lived together, you know, people would try to figure it out, and then we would say that, you know, I would say that's my husband's ex-wife, or she would say that's my ex-husband's wife. People would be like blown away, because typically when people are divorced or split up, they can't even get along enough to co-parent, let alone to build a united family. But I have to say, I think the backbone of this entire relationship that we have would have to be my husband. He went through hell between me and her, fighting back and forth. I think me and her gave him a run for his money, and he kept strong, and he told us, y'all need to get your shit together and y'all need to work it out and figure it out. And I think once he stepped back and wasn't the middleman anymore and it was left to me and her having to talk and he was excluded out of it, really helped. He never gave up. Every time we got in a fight, he would make us, talk it out and get along. So there has to be one strong person out of the three to keep everything going, and that's very neutral and that knows that, okay, this is my wife, this is my ex-wife, this is the mother of my child, this is also the mother of my children. So you got to have that person that understands that both people need to be respected, both people's opinions matter. Just because I'm not with her doesn't mean that she is a piece of gum on the road and this is my new girl and she's up here, so whatever she says doesn't matter. You can't do that. Like, you have to find a median, and you have to make everybody happy. And it is possible. We are like a proven fact that it is possible for mothers and stepmoms to become really good friends, and it's possible. You just have to work at it. And yeah, I mean, we get each other's Mother's Day gifts. Even before I had my daughter, she would get me a Mother's Day gift because I did help with her children, and her children were going to be my stepchildren one day, and we did get married. But yeah, I don't know what else to say other than it's a lot of work, but if you really want it, it is achievable. We are 7 years now in, and we're golden. Like, there is nothing that can be thrown at us that we can't tackle and handle. So yeah, everybody's feelings are important, and everybody's opinions are important, and the kids are important. So that's it for this video. I hope you guys really enjoyed, and if anybody's going through a situation like this and just wants to talk, I am here for you. You can leave a comment down below. You can message me on Instagram, any of those type of things. My email is down below. My Facebook, you can message me on Facebook. I'm here to help. If you have a successful blended family, please also let me know in the comments below, because I haven't really met any other blended families like ours. So if you are, comment down below. I would love to talk to you and just hear your story and how you guys did it. That's it, you guys. Like I said, I hope you enjoyed. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. That's it, you guys. Love you, and bye.